I've been looking for the right opportunity all week to cover this, and it's just kind of been kicking from one day to the other, because it's not breaking news, but it's important news. So it's breaking, but it's not. It's important, but not breaking. So I said, let's just do it during the Ask Me Anything. We have plenty of time. We build this out every week so that I take your questions. We have at least 200 to 300 emails or messages that I've received about Donald Trump's comments on Meet the Press regarding abortion, and Donald Trump's comments with Megyn Kelly about the trans issue. And so one of the reasons I didn't consider this to be top of mind is I know Donald Trump personally. I've endorsed him for 2024. He's been very good to me. And he's a pro-life guy. In fact, he did so much pro-life stuff as president, that stuff that sometimes gets intermixed with just kind of political cycle chatter doesn't overly interest me, to be perfectly honest. I know who he is. I know what drives him and animates him. And I also know what he did. And so before I play this piece of tape and Meet the Press and give you my reaction, I also want to remind you, I'm 100% pro-life. When I mean 100% pro-life, I mean I go to college campuses with people screaming at me saying, Charlie, what about exceptions for rape and incest? And I make the moral argument that a life is a life. So I'm 100% pro-life, and I remain that way. And we cannot waver on the issue at all. I also understand that not every politician running for office is going to be as clear as I want them to be on the issue. And then I'm going to tell you what I think President Trump said in the tape that is really upsetting people, because I'm getting a lot of messages from pastors and a lot of people that are really upset about it. And I can see that. But I'm also going to give you my personal interactions with Trump, and also, forget my own word for it, what did he do? Okay. So President Trump, as president, just as a reminder before we play the piece of tape, appointed over 150 pro-life judges, including 3 Supreme Court justices, 43 U.S. Courts of Appeal judges, and 99 district court judges. He permitted states to defund Planned Parenthood of Title X funding. He stopped tax dollars funding abortions overseas. He defunded the pro-abortion UNFPA. He required health insurance companies to disclose if plans cover abortion, settlements and new rule regarding HHS mandate, new office for conscious protection at HHS, allowing states to defund Planned Parenthood of Medicaid funds, and cut Planned Parenthood's tax funding, and canceled a huge contract for taxpayer-funded experimentation with body parts of aborted babies in June. He was also the first president to speak at the March for Life. In fact, Roe versus Wade would never have been repealed if it wasn't for President Trump sending it back to the states. So let's play the piece of tape here that is getting people fired up. I think some people, not everyone, have a little bit of a memory issue, and they're forgetting that Donald Trump was the most successful pro-life president in American history. Now, I just want to remind you, there's a difference between disagreeing on objectives and values and then also disagreeing on tactics and strategy. Because I think people are conflating Donald Trump's value system with Donald Trump's tactics and his strategy. Those are two different things. Let's play cut 138, please.
If a federal ban landed on your desk, if you were reelected, would you sign it at 15
weeks? Are you talking about a complete ban?
A ban at 15 weeks.
Well, people are starting to think of 15 weeks. That seems to be a number that people are talking about right now.
Would you sign that?
I would sit down with both sides and I'd negotiate something, and we'll end up with peace on that issue for the first time in 52 years. I'm not going to say I would or I wouldn't. I mean, DeSantis is willing to sign a 5-week and 6-week ban.
Would you support that? You think that goes too far?
I think what he did is a terrible thing and a terrible mistake.
Okay, but now did he mean it's terrible morally, or did he mean that it might be terrible politically? Those are two different things. Because President Trump might be saying that it's an unpopular thing. It's kind of, there's some vagueness there. So let's take a step back. What is President Trump saying? He's saying, I will try to get people in the room and strike a deal. Remember, Donald Trump looks at himself as the guy that can go after the most impossible deals. Israel and Saudi Arabia and the UAE, and trying to get people that otherwise hate each other in the room. North Korea and trying to ease tensions. He has a track record of trying to make impossible deals happen. Now understand, my moral perspective is there is no deal if you want to kill babies. That's me. And that's the way the pro-life movement feels. But I'm here just trying to offer some context to a man who has not said, because words don't mean anything to me, but proven to be pro-life. That's why when I see interviews like this, I kind of say, look, show me the money, man. Jerry Maguire, show me the goods. Enough talk. Here's the other thing. President Trump, I think, was more focused on trying to attack DeSantis in that particular dialogue than actually talking about the merits of the abortion issue. Now, we as pro-life activists need to constantly be on our toes because we've been let down so many times. Saying one thing or another. George W. Bush was a Republican who did not speak at the March for Life, and he was almost pro-choice. In fact, his wife was very, very pro-abortion, remains to be pro-abortion. And he talked this good game about Christian values, but when it came to that issue, it's like, ooh, we don't want to talk about it. We don't talk about it. Just a little reminder, this is President Trump, the first president ever speaking at the March for Life. Play cut 161.
Cannot know what our citizens, yet unborn, will achieve, the dreams they will imagine, the masterpieces they will create, the discoveries they will make. But we know this. Every life brings love into this world. Every child brings joy to a family. Every person is worth protecting. And above all, we know that every human soul is divine and every human life, born and unborn, is made in the holy image of Almighty God.
That's right there bigger than some sort of heated moment where DeSantis gets brought up with Kristen Welker. Forget that. That's like a bar fight. This is right there, straight communication of Imago Dei. And then he also did it. He enacted it. Here's something that we as pro-life activists, though, are not honest about. Well, I am, and I get criticized for this. If the 2024 election is a referendum on abortion, we will lose. If it is just about abortion, we will lose. America is not as pro-life as I am. I know this. I know this from talking to moderate suburban Republicans that say, Charlie, I'm with you on every issue except the abortion issue. I know this on campuses where it is by far the number one issue. And now the perspective that some of you might say is, but Charlie, we can't waver on moral clarity. I agree with that. I do. But what Trump is trying to say, though, is there any sort of deal that could be struck where you have one side saying you can abort a baby up to the minute of death? I mean, up to the minute of you could basically kill a baby right there up into the moment of birth. Here's some data, though. When abortion has recently been on the ballot in Ohio, in Kentucky, and many other states, Kansas, the pro-abortion side wins. And that doesn't mean it's not an important issue. For me, it's one of my top issues, and it remains that way. Putting principles into power is where politics comes in. So you have principles, and then you have power. But the segue between principles and power is politics, which can be very messy. So what do we want? Yes, of course, I want to save babies. I'm 100% pro-life. But I want to win. If you do not win, then your principles are nothing more than bumper stickers and tweets that you can rest on your laurels until the FBI comes and raids your home or until they start transing your kids. Our principles are abstractions without political power. There are two different types of roles: people that are running for political office and people that are in the public commentary space. If I, Charlie Kirk, was wavering on the abortion issue, then I would be completely warranted to receive all the negative emails. But I'm not. Instead, I'm merely offering context for President Trump, who has dedicated his life to beating the bad guys. That's his life's work. The life's work of Donald Trump, especially politically, is to beat the Marxists, beat the open border crowd, even beat the pro-abortion folks. What is hilarious to me is, do you know who really hates Donald Trump? The pro-abortion lobby, because he was responsible for reversing Roe versus Wade. Not everybody, but some of you that have messaged me, some very nasty emails about Donald Trump. I wish there was a little bit more gratitude, a little bit more understanding that this guy delivered the goods. You should have saw Washington, D.C. when Roe got overturned. It was as the demons came out of the fourth circle of hell, and I am not exaggerating. Those people did not see Trump as an ally. So keep that in mind. So I want your continued thoughts here, freedom@charliekirk.com. But if I were to summarize all this, President Trump does have to sharpen up some of these answers. He does. He's got to sharpen up some of them. I wouldn't give them 10 out of 10. I'd give them 6 or 7 out of 10. And if I didn't know Trump personally, if I hadn't been through so many cycles of this up and down the roller coaster over the last 7 years, I could see some of the anger or some of the upsettedness on this. I just happen to be in a different place in the sense of been around him, know what animates him. I've seen this. But the track record is A+. That you can't possibly debate. So instead of just kind of all the chatter and the white noise and people that, oh my goodness, guys, look at the record. It's the track record, stupid. Not the chattering. Because that's what politicians like. Talk, 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 talk. That's all they do. Talk, 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 talk. Enough. He did the stuff. He signed the bills. We have Amy Coney Barrett, Kavanaugh, and Gorsuch. Roe versus Wade is done because of him. So I get the initial, oh, bah, bah. Why was Roe versus Wade repealed? Because of Pence? Because of Nikki Haley? No. Because of Trump. So back off.
Because the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that